Namaste and welcome to the next thematic topic in Jiva course. Name of this topic is Kriya Yoga. In this topic, we are going to learn the process of yoga and various impurities that come as hurdle in practicing yoga. I recite the sutras which are in Sanskrit. You may please refer to the textbook while I am reciting the sutras. And then I translate them in English and then present detailed explanation using the graphic illustrations. Tapaswadhyayeshwara pranidhanani kriya yogaha avidyasmitaragadveshabhiniveshaha panchakleshaha avidyakshetramuttaresham prasuptatanu Anitya-shuchi dukkhanatmasu nitya-suchi sukhatmakhyatiravidya drugdarshana-syaktyorekaatmate vasmita sukhanushayi ragaha dukkhanushayi dveshaha swarasavahi vidushopi tatharudho biniveshaha. Now let me present the English translation of these sutras. Austerities, self-study of eternal wisdom, and submission to the imperishable soul is Kriya Yoga. Ignorance, ego, passion, hatred, fear of death are the 5 impurities hindering yoga. Ignorance is the underlying field for the other 4, whether the other 4 are in dormant, mild, overpowered, or fully expanded. Non-eternal, impure, painful, and non-self, being mistaken as eternal, pure, happy, self, Atma, is ignorance. To identify the instrument of seeing with the real seer is ego. Happiness is followed by passion. Grief is followed by hatred. Flown in self-inclination, even the learned have longing for endless life. So in this thematic topic, Maharshi Patanjali is giving us another technique of practicing yoga, which has 3 components in it: tapas, swadhyaya, and Ishvara pranidhana. Tapas is austerities. You restrain this body, these indriyas, from material pleasures. Such actions are called austerities, tapasya. And thereby practicing control on your sensory organs, on your manas. That is austerities. So you have to all the time exercise control on your indriyas, buddhi and manas as the first component of yoga. And the second component of yoga is swa-adhyaya, self-study. Self-study of eternal wisdom, Bhagavad Gita. Physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics, you anyway study in your schools. All these are called material sciences. These studies, these subjects deal with the material, the matter around you in this material world. What you need to study for the sake of yoga is Brahma Vidya, eternal wisdom, a subject that deals with not matter but eternal, with spirit, with soul, with Brahman. And so that is called Swadhyaya and Ishvara Pranidhana. Complete surrender to the imperishable, pure soul, Ishvara. Nashvara is perishable, and that which is not perishable is Ishvara. And anything in this world that never destroys is Ishvara. And you surrender to such imperishable aspect. And these three components put together is yoga. Now, there are so many impurities in this material body which often become hurdles in practicing yoga. We need to understand these impurities and find ways of getting rid of those impurities. Otherwise, the progress in yoga will be in question. So let us understand what these impurities are. I've also put graphic illustrations to make it easier to understand. Ignorance, ego, passion, hatred, fear of death. So these are the 5 impurities. Ignorance is the underlying aspect, which makes the other 4 more intense. Not eternal, impure, and painful aspects to be confused as eternal, pure, and Atma is ignorance. So the first graphic illustration at the extreme end, the circle, there is a movie theater and there is a school. You get some knowledge from every movie that you watch. It presents some aspect of the society in a more dramatic way. And in schools, when you go, there is a structured learning of subjects, is also giving you knowledge. Now, there is a difference in both. The other one is fiction. What you see in the movies is a fiction. That's not the true knowledge. What you get in the school, that is the true knowledge. So mistaking what is being provided in movies as the real knowledge, real wisdom, and trying to copy the heroes of the movie, trying to adopt their methods of lifestyle, is a kind of misguided ignorance. And that's just one example. There's several such examples. So in short, ignorance is to mistake the impure, non-eternal aspects as the pure and eternal aspects. And this ignorance is the underlying reason for the rest of the other 4 impurities. Now let's see the other 4 impurities, what they are. The next one is ego. You see in the other circle there is a person with the binoculars. He's trying to watch the sunrise. There's also another lady sitting on a yoga mat, enjoying the sunrise and trying to do meditation. Now, if you see the red shirt person who is with the binoculars watching the sunrise, what is watching the sunrise? Is the binocular watching or the person who is using the binoculars watching the sun? Who is watching the sun? Binoculars is an instrument of seeing the sun. You, that red shirt person, is watching the sun. Very clear about it. Everybody understand, right? Now let's take this even more deeper. In case of that lady who is watching the sun rise and doing yoga there, who is the real seer? Is that the lady or the soul inside that lady? The real seer is the soul, the Atma. This body is just an instrument. Just like the binoculars is an instrument in the hands of a body, and this body is an instrument in the hands of the soul. The real seer is the soul. And whatever things that you are doing in this life, assuming that you are doing those things, this body is a ego. I am seeing the sun. I am doing the things. That sense of I is called ego. The next is, in this circle, there's a happy family. The mother and father watching their children play joyfully with a nice car and a home. There's a lot of happiness there. Do you see? What does happiness lead to? Attachment. You get attached to those happinesses. What happens when you get attached? You develop passion, raga, that you cannot live without them. So, sukhanushayi ragaha. Happiness leads to passion, raga. Raga is impurity. Ego is an impurity. Ignorance is an impurity. Now you see this another graphic illustration where he has a troubling neighbor. Always puts music in high volumes, creates some disturbance all the time, throws the garbage in an haphazard manner. And that leads to sad, unhappy. And when you are unhappy about certain thing, what happens next? You develop hatred towards whatever is causing that unhappiness to you. Whatever is causing that grief, that sadness to you, you develop a sense of hatred towards that thing. So in this case, this person starts hating the neighbor. Hatred is the next outcome of pain. And hatred is an impurity. And last impurity is abhinivesha, which is clinging to the life. Everybody knows that at some day, some point, we are gone. This body is drop dead. Atma moves on from this body to the other. However, flown in self-inclination, people develop too much of passion towards the body. And at some point think this is going to stay forever. I give you a small example. Maybe you entered an elevator, to go from ground floor to the 6th floor in your office. And normally these days elevators have a mirror inside, just to make the dimension of the elevator look broader. When you see the mirror, what is the reaction? You start paying attention to your face, How am I looking? How are my eyes looking? How are my cheeks looking? Within that span of moving from ground floor to 6th floor, you would have spent all the time looking at yourself in that mirror. This is an example of self-inclination. You're inclined so much about yourself that leads to clinging to the life. And that's again an impurity, dosha. And all these impurities have to be overcome in order to progress in yoga. As you practice yoga, as you incline towards the imperishable self rather than the body, it gives you over a period of time that clarity, that ability to get away of all these impurities. On that note, namaste.